What's up, everybody? What's up? What's up? What's up? I got to check a few things. You know how it goes. LinkedIn, Instagram. Make sure everything's running smooth. Make sure everyone can see. Make sure everyone can hear. Let's see what we got with our Instagram. There we go. There we go. Cool, cool, cool. One more thing we got to check. Facebook. You know how that go. Make sure everybody on Facebook. Yep, we looking good. We looking good. Okay, okay, okay. If you can hear, if you can see as well, put the LUs in the chat when you come on. We just want to make sure everyone can get the gems, get the value. But welcome to another segment of Where Are They Now? All right, we got a special guest. Gentleman went from networking to cloud networking, and we want to introduce him to you if you haven't heard of him, if you haven't seen him on LinkedIn. Now, this dude is going to tell his journey. He was a Level Up in Tech alumni, just came through, killed the program, and landed a role in network cloud automation. And now, for those of you who are just like him, or those of you who are just traveling the same journey, or just want to get into this, we just want to share some of the things that he went through and some of the things he does on a day to day. And hopefully, you got your pen and your pad. You can take some notes, but put the HJs in the chat for my guy, Herby Jeanty. What's up, man? How are you, bro?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me.
No, man, I appreciate you, man. It's been a long time coming. It's been 2 years.
Yeah,
So that's
yeah.
crazy. Yo, time passed by fast. 2 years, and you've been blazing your trail, man. And I know it's a lot of people out there just, wondering how to get their foot in the door. Some people that were network that are network engineers, like you've been, how can they transition into cloud? What are some of the things they can do? And just want to share that story. You could just drop gems, man, and just really, take them through your journey and maybe even some of the roadblocks that you powered through, right? And even some of the wins that you had along the way. And hopefully, this inspires somebody to take their career to the next level and just take that step, man. So, without talking too much, because we could do that too, we're gonna get straight to it. So, hey, man, walk us through your decision to move from traditional networking engineering to like I want to be in cloud. What did that look like for you?
Um, so to be honest, it actually started out with it kind of started out with fear, like fear of missing out. So at one point, I was kind of looking into cloud computing, pretty much as someone who does networking. I was learning about cloud native, and that kind of stumbled into cloud computing. Cloud native is something to do with like SD-WAN with networking, but when I learned about cloud computing, to me it seemed like every company was merging over to the cloud. It was going
Mm,
from on-prem to cloud, and I was like, this seems like the new wave, and even like YouTubers that I follow were saying the same thing. Oh, you got to get into cloud, you got to get into cloud. And so out of fear, I thought, if I don't stay up to date with cloud computing, my skill sets might be redundant. So just out of fear, that kind of drove me to look more into cloud computing. And then I learned more about your cutting edge and how, you can provision servers, within minutes.
mm,
And then, then that kind of led me to, it actually led me to your timeline, because every time I kept looking up cloud computing, at some point, coincidentally, I kept seeing you on my timeline. I'm like, like he's talking about the same thing I'm looking into. I'm like, I'm thinking about getting this AW, but he's talking about it, and I'm like, what? And then you started posting people that went from different careers to cloud computing, and I was like, nah, wait, hold on. So, um, that, that's how I got started with you, man. Like seriously, man, I felt like it was like fate. I
mm.
went from doing my research, and then you just kept pulling up, and then it like after taking your program, man, it was downhill from there.
Man, I definitely appreciate
It
it,
was
man. You
downhill
just mentioning it. I think you're
from
stuck a
there.
little bit, but can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay. So what you said in the beginning, as far as new technology at the time and cloud, man, it was just everybody had to move on it, right? And
Yeah,
COVID was pushing
yeah,
a lot of people to move. But one thing I did find, and it's crazy that you talked about it, you were proactive in really looking at like, hey, tech is changing, and I have to change my skill set because I don't want to get left behind. The fear,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
I don't want to be stagnant in my career, and then my company or opportunities arise, and I don't know how to take advantage of them.
Yeah.
And that's the crazy thing because when I got into cloud, even as a entry level associate,
Mhm.
I seen it all across the board. So mind you, you think about it like this: I was I got hired on as cloud AWS cloud support at a cloud training company, right?
Okay.
So when we go to events, reInvent, right? Google Next. I haven't been in the Microsoft Ignite, but you know, it's the same thing. When I
Mhm.
reinvented Google Next, the common thing that I seen was people were fusing to learn cloud, or
Mhm.
they would come up and be like, "Hey, man, I've been doing this job for the last 20 years,
Mhm.
and this cloud thing has been pushed and pushing. I'm stuck. I don't know where to go. I don't know how to do it. I need
Mhm.
some guidance." And it's crazy because I'm sitting here, my first year, I'm like, whoa, bro, like, you know what I mean? Like, you 20 years, like, what can I do? I'm trying to help, people that haven't done this before.
Right.
But what I realized was when it came to cloud technology, people were starting over from scratch for the most part, just trying to learn how to make way and be an asset doing that.
Mhm.
And you were proactive, but they were being reactive. And the stress of being reactive was just leading them elsewhere and all confused. It's like, hey man,
Yeah.
I don't know, because if my job lays me off and
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't go
Yeah.
nowhere else. Everybody's moving to the cloud. Can you help
Yeah.
me?
Yeah.
And that's how it went, man. And it's crazy that, I'm super proud of you, first of all, for being proactive, because a lot of
Thank you.
people don't
Thank
take
you.
that initiative and really see the trend.
Thank you.
So when you first decided to pivot in the cloud, right? How did you really identify the skills and tools that would be most relevant to a role that you want?
So the funny thing is, I didn't really have to. Um, it became a pattern. And what I mean by that is, after I completed a program, I just noticed that not like companies in terms of DevOps position wasn't really coming to me. It was more like cloud positions with networking were coming to me.
Mhm.
And although I was anticipating, getting a DevOps position, I just noticed a pattern where every other company had to do with networking. They would see that I had networking in my background,
You were jumping on it.
and yeah, they were just jumping on. And I said, but I want to do DevOps. But I didn't realize how DevOps can be in such a spectrum of different similar fields, right? You have
It's a
SRE, cloud
process.
engine,
Yeah.
yeah. And
Yeah.
I didn't know they had cloud automation, like network cloud engineers. I didn't even know that existed. So when they kept coming to me, I said, you know what, let me use this to my advantage and let me start applying for positions with networking and cloud at the same time. And the one thing that stood out, man, I'm glad. I'm gonna say this again. I'm glad I took your program, because one thing that stood out was definitely Terraform. That was a big thing. Like they if you had Terraform in your background, man, they were on you. Like for me, they were
Yeah.
just on me. They said,
Yeah.
"Oh, you got networking and you can do Terraform. Listen, we have this department that they're trying to merge over from on-prem into this to this platform, and we need someone to know a little bit of in between of both." So that's how that happened. I didn't really had to like swing that networking as a way to get into it just came that way, and so that's how I dealt with it.
Yeah. So really, you're taking your transferable skills from the other roles
Yeah,
and leverage them with your
yeah,
new skills in cloud
yeah,
to land something that you didn't even think that was out there, period.
yeah.
Right. So for all of y'all that's listening, some of y'all in tech right now trying to figure out like what I'm gonna do. And really you already have the skills for the foundation that has been laid through your years of hard work doing whatever you're doing. Right. Learning these new cloud skills, learning these new AI skills is only going to bridge the gap. And trust me, new roles are going to open up in the next few months. You're going to see roles that you've never seen before.
Yeah.
As cloud automation and AI gets bigger, so is, financial operations. So is, more cloud roles are going to open, more automation roles are going to open, AI engineer roles are going to open, more machine learning roles are going to open. So a lot of things that you're doing, admin roles. So think about it. You coming from help desk or tech support, right? You already have the fundamentals and foundations of admin work,
Yeah.
right? Azure, I'm sorry, Active Directory, 365 SharePoint, anything, whatever the case may be, you can use those skills, right,
Yeah.
to build along with your cloud skills and land a role that you probably thinking cloud engineer. Oh, it's just cloud engineer.
Yeah.
But cloud admin is right there as the next step
Yep.
that can get you paid just as much.
Yep.
And for those of you that are watching that have experience, you can bridge it. And even those for you who don't maybe have a tech experience, guess what? You're probably already using some tech tools that you don't even know we use in the industry already. Right. So the more research you do, or if you like a certain role, the more you go down and kind of find out what that role entails and what you got to do, you'll find some things that you're probably already using or are similar and alike to some of the tools that are used as far as, maybe admin stuff, or maybe, little automation, or project management tools that are similar. Now all you have to do is put the technical stuff together
Yeah.
and keep it moving. All right. So take your notes. We dropping gems. We showing you what you could be doing and what you should be looking for. So got through the program and you out, you're looking for these roles, and you started getting hit up for network automation, cloud network automation roles. And you got hit up by, let's say, Geico. All right, because that's where you went. So what was the interview process like for your first cloud automation role at Geico? What does that look like?
So to start off, how I even got the interview, I used one of the tips that you guys mentioned. Well, Tegan
Yeah.
mentioned,
Shout
and
out to Tegan Bartos.
she mentioned that it's good to reach out to recruiters when you're applying for roles, and I made that a big habit. So not only, and like when I'm when I'm on the prowl for a job, I kind of go into like stalker mode, right?
You got to.
I find a job, I find a recruiter, I click on the recruiter, I click follow, then I click that little bell to show every single notification from that recruiter if they're hiring.
Mm,
So anytime any notification comes up on my phone, I know it's a job alert, not just a regular notification. So on top of that, then I look at her profile or his or her profile and see if there's an email address. If there's an email address, I'm sending an email also with with the resume attached. And just like you guys mentioned, always have like a template of your messages that you want to send out.
yeah.
So I had a couple messages, right? I got a template for a regular message. I have a template for if I can't send a message, but if I click connect, that little, that little bit of,
It's in the note.
I got the template
Yeah.
for that. So everything is just ready to go. And so yeah, I sent a recruiter a message, and she responded back. And then from there, she set up the interview. And the process was my son is like messing with the drawer.
No, it's
So
all good.
sorry. So the process, 1 second. Sorry, I had to put that on mute.
No, it's all good.
So so the process was when we did the interview, there were 3 people. There were senior manager and there were 2 senior engineers. Funny story, actually, that position was actually supposed to be a senior position. They were interviewing me for a senior. I didn't think I would land an interview for a senior position, but it just that when I looked at the job description, most of the stuff that they asked for, I felt like, well, most of my skill sets matched this job description. I didn't care what title it was. I just applied
Right.
anyway because it matched my skill sets.
Yeah.
So for any of you guys that you're applying, don't feel intimidated by the title. If the job description matches your skill sets, go for it.
Go for it.
They interviewed me for a senior position actually, and I'm trying to remember. There was 3 things that I remember that stood out the most in that interview. One was documentation. They were big on documentation. And when she was asking about how I documented, I said something, and she was like, yeah, I saw the projects you have on Medium. And I'm just like, man, see, these guys just gave me they gave me the gems, man. Like, so I'm like, in my mind, I'm like, yes, yeah, I got it. And then she's like, they decided to talk about Python because the role involves some Python programming. Again, that's something we did even more in the program. So she was like, explain your background in Python. So I explained, I did something from the program, and I mentioned the thing would be I at that time, like I would say anything. So I would just like, yeah, and I like to try to build video games and stuff like that with Python. Like I was just saying, everything that that I was interested, I was bringing it out, and she was excited about it. And the vibe that I got from this interview was like they were trying to hire talent, not they weren't looking for any, like they weren't looking for like that, not to say, like they weren't looking for no veterans or anything like that, but they did explain to me that the department was new and they're looking for creative thinkers. And
Mm.
so after Python, she was asking me questions about Git environment, and something about for me to explain what best practices would I apply in the Git environment. Again, this was for like a senior position. So I give her my
Mm.
interpretation of what good practice to follow based on the training that we did from Linux and the Git environment. So I explained my version of it, and I can't remember much after that, but I just know those three things: Git environment or agile environment, documentation, and my Python programming. That's all I could really remember. And I just remember they knew that I had a networking background, so that again that was a plus. And then
Okay.
yeah, and what happened was the next day I got a call saying that, you got the job, but it's not for the senior position, but it's for the standard network automation role. And I said, yeah, I'll take it.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to do in the
I
first
said,
place.
I'll take it, and that was that, man. Like, again, shout out to you guys, man, because the stuff that they were impressed by was stuff that I learned from you guys. You
Oh man.
understand? Like the documentation and everything. I would have never even thought that was something that was important. Just documenting, your projects and stuff like that. But understand, a lot of companies, if you're wanting to, if you want to grow with the company, you're gonna have to implement some leadership skills at some point,
Mhm.
and also you're gonna have to learn how to help your other engineers, and you do that. One of them is by documenting your stuff. So you're not gonna be working on Terraform and then say, hey, I'm gonna go take a 2-week vacation, and they don't know what you're working on. Like somebody, it don't work like that. So document your stuff so that way, if
Yep.
someone needs to finish up your work, they know, okay, oh, this is where this person was left, this is where they left off at. And so, again, documentation, man, it's a big thing. It's a big thing. It
No.
may not sound much, but it goes a long way.
Yeah, absolutely. Because a lot of them don't have it. Period.
Yeah, yeah,
Right. So even with onboarding, right, you're only as good as the documentation and the processes that you already documented as well. So if a company onboards you, some of them don't even have that. So they kind of like
yeah,
winging it.
yeah,
But if you can document your process going through that onboarding and be like, hey, this is what I documented what I was doing. Here's some things that I went through that was kind of failures, but this is how I got around them. They're gonna be like, oh my God, promotion already. But not really, but they're gonna be like, oh my God, we really like this person. We're gonna keep the eyes on them, and you can continue to do that, just that, and that'll definitely just give you brownie points with
yeah.
the management staff just
Hmm.
from documentation, not even from your well, that's a skill set, but not even from your technical skill set.
Yeah.
So it's funny when you mention like as far as how you were just relentless in reaching out to recruiters because right now,
Hmm.
right, actually I just had a person reach out to me and they were saying, hey, I'm scared because everybody's talking about how the cloud industry is saturated, right? And I was like, well, saturated? No. I say because I mean, for the most part, if you say the cloud industry is saturated, then that means most industries are saturated, right? Because we already have a lot of police around the country and the world. We got a lot of nurses, we have a lot of firemen and firefighters, we have a lot of restaurant workers, a lot of retail grocery workers, cashiers, but no one's having problems getting getting the job, let's say per
Right.
se, right? So what's happening is um people are just not applying aggressively enough. And this is what I
Yeah.
mean. A lot of people, and I don't know the percentage, right? Let's just say 85% of people are applying to jobs and that's it. Let's say I'm gonna apply to 10 jobs. I'm gonna use the same resume, and I'm gonna apply to these 10 jobs. And I'm
Mhm.
gonna hope to, hear something, and they don't. So when they don't hear something, they're like, "See, oh man, these jobs
Yeah.
are not hiring."
Yeah.
But you weren't even aggressive enough. Like you didn't even at least hit up the recruiter to let the
Mhm.
recruiter know, or even before you apply, hit up the recruiter and let them know that you were interested in applying and you're going to apply, and just let them know this is your skill set and just have a conversation. You didn't even attempt to
Mhm.
do that.
Mhm.
But now, even in this time where it is a little more competition, you have to have a better strategy, right? So what we do is what we call the REM method: recruiter, engineer, or manager, right? So
Mhm.
we have to look at this. Think about it from this standpoint. We have to look at it, and I say this every live, as a business. We're a business.
You're
Look,
right.
and we built our services. Now we're going to find clients for our services, which is our skills. Clients are looking for businesses like us, right?
Mhm.
With businesses, we have a client list. So if you have a client list of like Accenture, Citibank, Capital One, whatever companies you want to work for, what you need to do is develop the list of people that you can connect with in there. So if you apply to a role, let's just say you went and applied, then you should hit up no less than 5 people that work at that company:
Mhm.
recruiter, engineer, or manager.
Mhm.
And you need to have a script ready to introduce yourself to them. And what you should do is just say, "Hey, my name is Broadus. I just applied for the such and such role over there. I'm reaching out to really learn more about like your day to day and the culture at ABC company. And I wanted to see if you had maybe 5 minutes on your schedule that we could talk about like how did you come to work there and how do you like working there. If
Mhm.
able to give me the 5 minutes, I will love it. I appreciate you. Let me know if that's possible."
Mhm.
5 people out of every company. So if you're reaching out or you apply to 10 companies already, that should be 50 people that's on your list in conversation. When somebody look at your inbox in LinkedIn or email, it should be 50 conversations that
Yeah.
you have reached out.
Yeah.
And let's say you do 10 more next week, that's 50 more. Or let's say 10 more the next day. I know it's work. People are like, man, well, that's a lot of work. Well, do you want the damn job or not? You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? You say you want to make a you want to make a high paying wage
Mhm.
working as a cloud engineer, but you're not really willing to have conversations. Like that's the easiest thing you can do is reach out to
Mhm.
somebody with a conversation note. Somebody's gonna reply,
Oh yeah. And
and
just
that
and just and,
person you
and
can get on the call with.
and just to piggyback off of what you were just saying, another gem I just want to throw out there. You don't have to necessarily apply exactly for a cloud engineer. Like you have system admin positions that that have the exact same job description, and they want you to know cloud technologies. It's just under a different title. Yeah,
Yep,
you might get a little lesser pay, but I promise you, you can. I like to say you can sneak your way through a system admin, work 2 years, and then next thing you know, you'll probably either promote up to a cloud engineer or you can either after 2 years start applying. I mean, start applying for another job with the experience that you have that matches a typical DevOps or cloud engineer role. Because I see a lot of system admins, and I'm like, yo, like. How is a system admin the same thing as a cloud engineer? They talk about Kubernetes, virtualization. Oh, you got to know
roles are
Azure, you got to know
interchangeable.
AWS, and I'm like, wait a minute. But yeah, the pay might be little, but listen, if you just starting out, don't try to go for the big bucks and get this big position. And don't be so stingy. Oh, it has to be remote. Yeah, I get it. The whole idea of cloud computing is, you get to benefit from remote. But if there's a chance where, hey, it might be hybrid, you might have to do on-site, you just gonna have to, just do a little bit of, do a little bit of hard work first, man. Take a couple years, get those experience. 'Cause I promise you, once you come out of that, you're gonna get calls. You're gonna get recruiter calls. You're gonna get
Absolutely,
interviews like it's no one's business. I'm telling you.
absolutely. And
So yeah, good. Yeah, sorry.
no, no, no. So I was just going to piggyback, man, because and these roles are interchangeable. Like the titles are interchangeable. Like you said,
Yeah.
a system admin role. You can see they want you to use these tools and that tool and use cloud already. And you're like, oh, okay.
Mhm.
So basically, you're already learning these things. And let's say you go put in a hard 12 months,
Mhm.
and let's say just to wind it back. Let's just say they say, hey, the system admin role, we're going to start you off 85K,
Mhm.
right? And let's say it's a hybrid, right?
Mhm.
2 to 3 days in the office. But let's say you're transitioning from a role that's paying you 40K or even 50K.
It's still, I mean, still, but it's still progress,
Guess what?
regardless. You
They paying you 85K, they paying you 90K, and it's the office is not too. I'm not saying you got to drive hours, right? This ain't
Mhm.
Northern Virginia traffic or New York traffic where you got an hour and a half. But if it's decent, you're like, oh, okay, 20 minutes to get to work. Guess what? They paying you 85, 90K. Take your ass to work.
Exactly.
Get
And
that experience. You know what I'm saying?
and also like try it in terms of mindset. I can't speak for I can't speak for everyone, but I'm more of I'm more hungry for experience because that's more value to me, And I'm just like I go when I'm in the job field, I'm crazy about hey, like let me do this, let me try this. I take the initiative for everything because I'm
Mm,
hungry for experience. You have no idea how important that is.
yeah,
If you just go in there with just a if you just go in there with just a blank mindset, like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna do this job and the money and all that, and cut that out. Get your experience. Focus on your experience. When you in there, go berserk. Be that yes person for everything. Don't be that
yep,
person. I don't get paid to do this job. I don't get paid to do that. Don't do that. Because I promise you, you're gonna be stuck at the same spot. While the next person that takes on those extra responsibilities will have more opportunities. He'll be eligible for a promotion. You know what I'm saying? So uh, be hungry for experience. That's gonna be gold. I promise you.
yeah. That's gonna get if you don't have the big bucks now, that's gonna get you the big bucks in the next
Oh
year.
yeah.
So
Oh yeah.
just being hungry.
Yeah.
So now we talking about being hungry, and we talking about getting into the role. What were the biggest challenges you faced during your preparation for that cloud automation role, and how did you overcome it?
So preparation. I there was one struggle that I had, and that was I kept selling myself short. Um, I felt like I wasn't good enough for a role, and during conversations over the phone or with a recruiter or during an interview, I wouldn't be confident enough to fully express my like I know I'm good enough, but I just wouldn't like you can tell by my tone. Like I was just like, yeah, I mean, I know a little bit, and rather than say, yeah, I know how to do it, I was just like, yeah, I know a little bit, and I do, and they can pick that up. They're like,
Hmm. Hmm.
So at one point I was just like, you know what, man, like, yeah, I know how to do this stuff. Yeah, I did that, and it got to a point where I was just like, just be yourself. Be honest. If you don't know something, be honest. Just say you don't know it. It's fine. They will respect you for that, just for being transparent.
Yeah,
And they actually look for individuals who can admit that they don't know what they're doing. So learn to be open, learn to be, it's okay. Like just don't be that person that's trying to be perfect, because it comes off the wrong way. Like
yeah,
there's nobody that you can come onto a field and just be like, yeah, I know everything. Nah, that's a red flag for most people.
yeah,
But just
absolutely.
hey man, just be honest. Hey, I don't know how to do it. I've had some exposure to doing this in a couple projects. But don't my, yeah, my struggles, it was underselling myself and just selling myself short, and just not really getting that confidence. So to remedy that, I would just do more deep dives, more projects on the side, and just feel more
Mhm.
confident. Like, hey, yeah, I did this. Oh, check out the GitHub.
Yep.
I did that. I did that project. So
No,
that's
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 dope.
one way to overcome it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was going to say the same thing, right? Where you said don't sell yourself short and be honest in what you know and what you don't know. So the thing is, this is a mistake that a lot of people make, and we just want to nip it in the bud now. If you go in and you try to say you know something and you don't
Hmm.
know it,
Hmm.
you're gonna get drilled
Hmm.
on what you don't know. And you're
Yep.
gonna come out. And what you're gonna do is make yourself feel even worse when the
Yeah.
interview's done, because you're gonna feel like you don't know absolutely anything. But
Yep.
the whole time you should have just said, listen, you could confidently say something that you could confidently say you don't know something. This is how
Yep.
you say it. Hey, have you used tell me about your experience of using such and such? Well, I don't have any experience using that yet, but I'm pretty sure with my process and how I do things, I could be able to learn that quickly, get some quick start tutorials under my belt, learn how to solve problems with that quickly, so I can be able to be an asset to any project that you're working on. That's it. That is
Absolutely.
it. I use the baby analogy. My baby analogy is, it's like, let's say you have kids and you had two babysitters come over, and let's say your kid had to be fed a certain type of food a certain type of way. It had to be cooked a certain type of way. And you ask both of them, do they know how to cook this food a certain type of way? And one says, nah, I don't know how to cook that. Right? I don't know how to cook that. And the other says, I don't know how to cook that, but I'm sure if if you can show me real quick and help me learn, or I can YouTube it and really learn how to cook that, I'm pretty sure I'm confident enough to be able to keep doing it and doing it over and over again to make sure your child is fed the right way.
Shows
Both gave the
determination.
same answers.
Yeah.
Both gave the same answers. I don't know, but one showed confidence in being able to learn it.
Yeah.
To make sure you're going to go with the one that says, okay, yeah, I'm willing to learn to be able to take care of your child the right way. Right now, some people may say, well, I wouldn't go in either one. That's fine. Right. But you probably, if you choosing between one or the other candidate, you're going to choose a candidate that, is not selling themselves short and is being honest and upfront about what they can do and what they can't do, but what they can learn how to do what they can't.
Right.
And, I think companies appreciate that more, because when they start drilling you on things that you don't know and you said that you already lost the job. They just messing with you then.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
just gonna drill you and
Yeah.
give you a hard time because they know you're lying.
Yeah. The moment you show this, the moment you show dishonesty, is a done deal.
Yeah, it's a done
It's a
deal.
done
Like
deal.
you don't even got a chance. They're just
Yeah.
gonna drill you, and then they're gonna get you out there, and you're gonna go in and really feel like crap. Now, let's say once again we back on the scenario that you don't know something, and you said I can learn it. Guess what? When the interview is over, what you need to do, like he did, go and do these projects.
Yeah.
Hey, such and such. I know yesterday we was talking about using this, and I want to show you that I did this project solving XYZ problem with it. Check it out. Give me some feedback. That shows initiative. Like, whoa, 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 whoa. They just went home last night and did this project and delivered it to me this morning. They really want an opportunity. And even if you don't get that opportunity, they may have something else to be like, hey, even though we gave another experienced candidate this job, we have another role that I think you'd be perfect for. Do you have time to talk about it? Show the initiative to be an asset to them to solve their problems. Because the recruiter's job, the hiring manager's job, think about it. Hiring managers are, I promise you, hiring managers are just as nervous as interviewing you as you are
Oh
interviewing
yeah.
them.
Oh yeah.
So they don't
Most of
want
them
to
are. Yeah.
interview 80 clients. They don't want to interview 80 potential employees, right? They want to find the best employee quick as possible. So if you're showing initiative to be able to solve the problem, they can be like, yep, bring them in, because we can teach them and they can learn quickly and they can get on par with solving the problems that we solve. That's basically what it is, So
And
if we no, go
sorry,
ahead. Go ahead.
I wanted to add, if you like you're saying, as long as your resume, you don't put fluff on your resume just to make it sound to match the job description. Put exactly what you did, put exactly what you know. And if they're interested in you while your resume, was presented that way, it's going to make your interviews a lot easier. You're going to feel more confident, because they're going to question you only on the things that you already know. So, again, don't lie on your resume. To me, that was my biggest strength, man. Like, if I put everything I already did, and you like me and you want to interview me like that, it's over. Because now when I'm doing my interview, my tone is calm. I'm confident. I'm not even like, it's just like, oh yeah, that project. Oh man, that was a fun project, man. Let me tell you what I did in that project. And I start going in. Once I get an interview, it's, to me, it's like, oh, it's over. It's over, because there's nothing on my resume that that's false. There's nothing on my resume that's gonna make me sweat bullets the moment they ask me that one question. And it shows, man. Like, you may not realize it. These people are interviewing hundreds of people. They know when you're full of it or not. So just be genuine and be patient. Don't try to, oh, I got to get them to pull me in the interview, and then I'm going to convince them. Don't do that. Put
Yep.
put
I'm
fix,
with
yeah.
you.
Yeah,
I'm
fix
with
your
you.
resume the way it is, and if they pick, it's almost like a date, right? If you be yourself, and you go on a
Ah,
date, hey
uh,
man, you ain't got no, you ain't got to worry about nothing. You ain't got to prove nothing to nobody. You ain't got to pretend none of that. It's downhill from there.
no, that's real talk, man. If your profile, if you are exactly what you portray on your profile,
Yeah,
you have no problems. I love that analogy. Wow.
yeah, no
Yeah,
catfish,
man.
man, no catfish.
No
Yeah.
catfish. 'Cause that, and I think, just like if you want to use the date analogy,
Yeah.
I think some people think they have to be perfect. They have to be a perfect person on the date. In
Yeah.
reality, you be yourself, be who you are, and you'll get more opportunities that way. Well, meaning before you start applying, people think I have to have 100% of these skills. I got to be perfect and expert at them. And having that, it's a form of analysis paralysis.
Yeah.
And that's going to cancel you out of half the opportunities that you could have had anyway because you think you need to be perfect. Meanwhile, some matter of fact, a quick story is I reached out to someone that a company was looking for a role, and I reached out to that person like, "Hey, I got the company to reach out to them." It was two people. They were looking for, one person for the role, but two people I reached out to, and that one person let that company. They were reaching out to them like four times, and I said,
Mm.
"Hey, such and such was reaching out to you four times. They, said they haven't heard anything from you. I recommended you, and they said, no, I'm not ready yet. I need to be, I need to be 100% perfect in these skills. I need to be an expert in these
Uh,
skills. And then next week, the other person got the job, and
oh
I was like,
yeah.
you let a person who at the same level skill set you have, but just a little more confidence in themselves to go
Yeah.
out and say, I know I don't have all the skills, but I'm going to get this job. Meanwhile, you missed out on the opportunity because you thought you had to have 100% of the skills and you wouldn't allow yourself to go out there and just be who you are
Hmm.
and showcase what you already done. And you allow somebody to get the job over you that was just, y'all was the same. You could have just
Yeah.
went out there and showed confidence. They could have hired both of y'all. You just don't know, man.
Yeah.
So, all right. So for those, and I know you dropped a few gems, but for those who are looking to make a similar career pivot, right? What advice would you give them to help them navigate the interviewing process and to really stand out?
I would say focus on your craft. After you complete, let's say you complete the level up in tech program, don't stop there. Keep doing your do additional deep dives.
Mhm.
Go on go on AWS, follow their projects, document that. I say this: start off by treating you be very productive in LinkedIn. That's number one.
Mm,
Treat LinkedIn like any other social media, like as if though you're a content creator, getting on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Keep putting up relevant posts so that way the algorithm is going to work towards you. I promise you, you
mm,
keep putting up these certain projects, because recruiters do searches too. They look for individuals who they need to hire. And with that being said, you keep putting up these projects. Those projects, have keywords, and all of a sudden you'll start seeing recruiters start. And like for example, I'm kind of interested in firewall. Then it's just something I just wanted to do on the side just to improve on my networking. And I wanted to improve on my firewall. And not too long ago, I put up a lab, not too that I built. And the next day, some recruiter hit me up. Hey, I got a networking position, but it needs an experience with firewall and Fortinet and all that. And I was like, I just put something up yesterday, and I'm like, how this dude found me?
they found it
But
through
you know what I'm
that.
saying? Like, treat it like you're a content creator, because I promise you the algorithm is going to start to adjust towards the stuff that you're posting, and the
Yep.
more your fellow connections respond to it, they're going to find you. That's number one. So you got LinkedIn. Okay, do your deep dives. Focus more on, don't focus so much on the theoretical, focus more on the practical projects. you know that's the best way you can have an understanding, because when you actually do the projects, you have that understanding. When you're speaking to a recruiter or a hiring manager, it shows when you talk about it. You're like, yeah, man. So I was doing Terraform, and I had to do this local exec block, man. But then because it was using the local, like you just start going in, and they're like, oh man, this guy knows what he's talking about. Like, look, he was doing this, he was doing that. Do that. Do your deep dive. Don't stop. Like, don't just, hey, I'm done, and then like, like how most people, you graduate and you get your degree and then that's it. No, keep going. Do a deep
Yep.
dive. Find out more of what you can do. After you build a 3-tier, let's say you build a 3-tier with CloudFormation, do it with Python, do it with SDK. Find out different databases that you can attach. Instead of DynamoDB, let's do Postgres, let's do MySQL, because you're going to see a lot of companies have different databases. A lot of companies have different they use different brands, so just have different projects with different flavors. Use GitHub for a pipeline. Use I mean, for me, the most thing I always see was just GitHub, and I see a lot of Azure DevOps, but which I wanted to quickly mention. Now I actually have experience with Azure now, which is a crazy thing. Right after that your program, I ended up getting right into Azure, which was strange, but it was a cool process though. It was a cool process. So I feel like now I got like both of both worlds. My best of both worlds. So,
No,
but
that's
yeah,
awesome, man.
but yeah,
That's awesome.
stay consistent, be productive.
Yep.
If I had to pick one out of all of them, just post projects, man. Get into projects, post them. I promise you, it's
Absolutely.
like you'll create this orbit starts coming towards you. Everything's like recruiters start finding you, and weird stuff just started happening. But definitely do that.
Now, I would say too, if you can get out of your comfort zone,
Yeah.
post videos with your project,
Ooh,
because
yeah.
the video algorithm, people want to learn. So people want to
Yeah.
be educated or entertained
Yeah.
or both,
Yeah.
right? So if you could educate,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter if you don't feel like an expert in this. This is what I kept in my mind when I was starting and I was trying to get my foot in the door. I was like, listen, I know nothing, but it's somebody that knows absolutely nothing, and I can teach. You know what I'm saying? So if you keep that mindset, if you think like, well, I don't know anything, you do. You know a lot more than you give yourself credit for.
Yeah.
But keep that mindset like, okay, let's say you don't know anything. It's somebody that knows absolutely nothing,
Yeah.
less than you, and you can teach that person. And while you're teaching that person, you're teaching other people that could have been in this industry for a while and they just never done what you did.
Yeah.
And they're like,
Absolutely.
wow, man, that video really helped me because I was literally working on something at work and you taught me how to do that.
Yeah.
So to piggyback on what Herby said, you have to stay relevant out there, posting projects, posting videos, educating, because you are a brand. You're building your personal brand.
Yeah.
And in this market, this is what these platforms are looking for: content creators. This is what they're showing more. If you're on TikTok, if you're on Instagram, you're on Facebook, or you're on LinkedIn, whatever, YouTube, that's what they want. Somebody who can continuously show up all the time and show the problems that they're solving. And recruiters and hiring managers, engineering managers or whatever, are looking for people just like you, because they know if you can get out of your comfort zone and show other people how to do it, that's just a step closer to somebody they can get, that they can mentor how to mentor.
Mm-hmm. And I
And
just want
you'll be a
to,
mentor.
and I just want to mention also, I got into Level Up in Tech, right? Um, I'm not going to give you the full detail. I'm just going to say, after the program and I land this role. Now, mind you, um, I land this role, and this role was I'm just going to say it was a well-paid job. I got into a 6-digit position with no college degree, and I have to emphasize on that. Well, I'm in college now, but I had no college degree when I pulled that job.
Yeah.
So, which means that I had to focus on presenting my skill sets, and you're gonna learn this whole process of looking for a job is almost like learning sales. You know, if if you are a business,
Sales.
you want to bring out like if someone's buying a car, you could just say, oh well, this car do this, it do this, it do this, it do this, and you're like, oh wow, okay, okay. So, but don't lie and be like, hey, oh yeah, it go 100 miles an hour it can't even go past first gear. And if they find that out, they're gonna be like, hey man, listen, I ain't gonna work with this person ever again. So
Right.
I'm saying this for a reason, man. If for those of you, maybe you don't have a degree, you might feel like, oh, listen, I ain't got no degree, so I ain't no way I'm gonna get a role. This program right here, because of the things that they taught me, the gems that they gave me, it helped me to, you know, boost my skill sets. It helped me to learn how to expose my skill sets so that way people who are looking can find me. And you'll be so surprised. Number one, number one, you got companies that don't even know they don't even know what I don't want me to say it like that, but they don't even know what they're doing in terms of who they're looking for. And sometimes they might just come across and you be like, hey, I'll do it. They're like, okay, yeah, let's pull this person on. And then you get it, you get in that way. And then, too, sometimes they're just looking for someone who's willing to learn. They're not even
Yep.
looking for veterans, and also you don't have to target big tech companies. You don't have to work with Google and Amazon and all that stuff like that. It's a different atmosphere, it's a different vibe. Just stay, stay consistent, stay productive,
Yep.
learn to expose your just expose your profile to the world and try to let people find you,
Yep.
and I because I just want to say that because one of the struggles that I had, I'm gonna say like this, I'm an introvert, right? So I didn't like the idea of talking to people and like, oh man, I'm putting my profile out there. I was a very private person, and I have friends who are still the same way. And I'm like, listen, man, if you come out of your shell, things will change. And I learned to just, hey, be be vulnerable, man. Put your stuff out there, even if it's a corny project. You'd be so. I told the person that was interviewing me that, hey, I try to build games that I never finished with Python, and they were like, yo, like that's cool. And I was like, oh wow, I didn't think you know, they would think, take interest in that. But listen, be out there, be productive, man. Don't be
Yeah.
that. Don't be in the show.
No, man. Look, be vulnerable because the success is outside of the comfort zone.
Yeah.
And what happens is if you show a project, and let's say people are scared, like, oh, if I show this project, somebody, did something wrong, somebody gonna just blast me out for it. The
Hmm.
thing is this, it's two things that's gonna happen. So if you do a project and you got something wrong, those that are gonna look at the project that know what you got wrong and know how to fix it is gonna give you some feedback on how to fix it.
Hmm.
Those who look at it and don't know how to fix it are going to say shit because they don't know how to fix it. You know what I mean? So they don't know what you're doing. So the ones that do are just going to help you and give you the feedback and help you get stronger.
Exactly.
The ones that don't, they they don't know. So
Exactly.
you being vulnerable is just showing you're able to do things that some people can't do, and you're able to learn from those who can do it. That is all, and that's all what companies are really looking for. Somebody who can come in, can learn, can be coachable, and can push themselves to the next level.
Yes.
So, look, I really hope what we laid down tonight was some gems for y'all, especially for those who are looking to just jump into this because it can be overwhelming. You can feel like you're not good enough. You can feel like if I do this, I'm gonna fail. And we want y'all to see just success after success. Different people, all different walks of life from different industries. And we just want y'all to see the common denominator that helped them become successful is their tenacity of not giving up and being able to be uncomfortable. That's it. That's the common denominator. I'm going to continue to push myself to get better every day, and I'm going to do it until I get the result I need.
Hmm.
That is all. Nothing else separates winning but that.
Yeah.
You have to be willing to say, I'm gonna get better every day without seeing the immediate result. Because some people want it quick. Oh yeah, I just got my AWS certified cloud practitioner. I'm looking for my next job in about 30 days. But if you got other skills, then that might happen. But if you have
Yeah.
no skills, that's not gonna happen. And you need to be ready to push yourself to the next level every single day without seeing the result. All right. So we got some questions here. Let's see. So Damien said, were there any obstacles you struggled with while going through Lewitt level up in tech?
Um, Not really. See, for me, I've been working in IT for 16 years, and my study habits is pretty much part of my lifestyle. So, in terms of getting certifications within a certain time frame, and just it's something that I'm already used to. So when I got in the program, and they're teaching us different parts to cloud computing. Yeah, there were some individuals that that might have struggled a little bit, but for me, it wasn't much of an issue. It was just something that I'm already used to. So. Um, I would just say the only struggle I had was just getting used to documentation because that was never really my thing.
Mm.
But luckily, they gave us some tips on how to, better, organize our documents and, just how to put them in blog format on Medium. And I would say that's the only struggle I really had.
So I would say too, for people that's just maybe struggle, regardless in this program or just another one, or working by themselves or working in a community, right?
Hmm.
Common things that I see are we get in our own way. This mean like if I'm
Yeah.
learning something,
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, I gotta learn everything about this thing before I move forward.
Yeah.
And not realizing that me just showing up every day getting better is the remedy.
Mhm.
Right. But what I do is I tell myself, like, if I get stuck on something, like, man, I knew I'm not good enough. I'm gonna lay it down, man. I can't do Python right now. I can't do it. I'm just not good enough. In reality, it's just me showing up every day
Yeah.
and getting it and getting better. And then I will get it. Like, oh wow, that's what I was doing wrong. Damn.
Yeah.
Because it took me 5 minutes to figure that out while I got stuck on it for like 2 hours a week ago. Right.
Right.
And that's really what it is. You might have some certain technical struggles, like you said, with trying to figure out the right way to do like documentation. Like, okay, what is the perfect way? What is the right way?
Right.
And really, the right way, I would say, for documentation is being creative, right? If we can talk about the scenario, talk about the obstacles, talk about the actions, talk about what the result you got from your actions, and talk about the failures, right? Show screenshots if you got code base or whatever, and just give the project from your creative standpoint of what that looked like for you, not
Mhm.
what it looks like to be completed as true documentation, like 1, 2, 3, done. It doesn't work that way, right?
Right.
From your creative process when you were working on it, what did it look like for you? And from the things that you encountered in that project, how did you get over them? Over those roadblocks. That's what perfect documentation looks like, because
Hmm.
somebody can learn. And if they go through the same roadblocks you go through, they want to see, okay, this is what they did. Oh, boom. Yeah, that helped. Woo.
Yeah.
Herbie know exactly what he's talking about. But if you don't have those things and they come after you and try to learn, or if you're in a job and they try to do something and they hit a roadblock, like, hey, I hit this roadblock, I don't know what to do, when you could have just put that in there and just been vulnerable. This is what I did and this is how I got around it. Even if it's a cheat, we all cheat in tech. We're not looking for, if it's a short way to get around something and keep it moving, we're gonna cheat. Oh yeah, this is
Of
what
of
I did.
course.
You ain't
Yeah.
gotta do it. That's what we do. So um that's what I say to you, Damien. And then the next question, the last question would be, what are some of the first time GitHub project examples you suggest? Oh man.
I'm gonna tell you like this: pipelines, pipelines, pipelines.
Ooh,
Man, I can't stress that enough. Every environment, when you're gonna start working on any form of code, any automation, it's gonna be on a pipeline. I promise you that.
yep,
If it's not, their next mission is to how to structure it on a pipeline. Try to. It doesn't matter what project you're working on. Just try to learn how to put things on a pipeline. Whether you're yeah, using Terraform to automate whether using Terraform to automate any resources from AWS, learn to put it on like GitHub's pipeline.
yep,
Learn to, for example, good experience that I had in Geico was I got a chance to work with Terraform and to automate resources with Azure, and I noticed that their pipeline was like it's scattered. Meaning, when I look into the directory, like their TF state was like somewhere, some other directory, and even when you won't do like a Terraform plan locally on your laptop like that. You're gonna have to submit your code. They're gonna approve it, and once it goes through, the pipeline automatically runs the Terraform plan by default.
Mhm.
Then,
Dope.
if that works in your test environment, then from there, then you're gonna have to learn how to get into the pipeline, uncheck plan, and then let it run Terraform apply. So everything is just on a pipeline. Like I can't stress that enough. If you're gonna do any projects, if you're gonna pick one project to do the most out of everything, pick pipelines. Try to find out how to trigger anything on a pipeline, because
Mhm.
again, your environment, you're gonna work with other engineers, and everybody has to have like a streamline, a workflow, and you want to be able to you submit your code, he submits his code, and then the pipeline just works it automatically. It triggers automatically. So definitely pipeline. If anything, go on the AWS site, look up any projects, or if you best thing if even if you go on YouTube and you see someone post a project. I did this once. I saw someone on YouTube did it was just a setting that he put in Terraform, and I wrote a blog about it, and I tagged him. I said, "Oh man, I was inspired by this individual's content on YouTube that I put it on a blog," and he saw it, he liked it, and he gave his 2 cents on it. He was like, "Yo, man, thank you." And if you can see someone else do a project like a replicate it, or even if not, replicate it and just put your own flavor to it. If he's using MySQL, do Postgres. Whatever. Just
Yep.
get into the habit of, oh, I'm gonna replicate what he did, and then I'm gonna then post that. So pipelines, man. That's all I
Yep.
can tell you.
Oh, that's
Yeah,
dope.
pipeline.
So I would say too, if you're talking about like a first time GitHub project, right? So some of the things is super easy, right? So if you're doing some things in AWS, let's say you're just creating an EC2 instance, right?
Hmm.
Um, try it through the command line, right?
Hmm.
And then try it through SDK. You use Python or use whatever, Node.js, whatever the case, to create this instance and just keep adding. But once you create your first instance, let's say through code or any command, you could just push that to GitHub. That's
Hmm.
your first piece of code. Use that, like even if it's just 4 lines of code, push it to GitHub,
Yeah.
learn Git, and understand what it looks like pushing code to your
Yeah.
repo.
Yeah.
And that way you get comfortable with just pushing code, and then you're pulling the code and adding to it. Like, well, I created a T3 micro, excuse me, AMI out of the, US East one, but now I want to add to it. I want to add, downloads web server. I want to download some packages on it, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm gonna add the code to do that. Once you pull the
Hmm.
code, you add the code, run it, see if it works. Oh my God, it worked. Push the code back to your repo. That's another
Hmm.
commit. People look
Hmm.
at commits on your repo too, right? So it's cool if you got a repo, but if you got like 2 commits on it, it's like you ain't been doing that. And we can see the last time you made a commit. So make commits often with your
Yeah.
code and keep adding and keep breaking things, keep fixing, keep improving. And you
Yeah.
just get used to working with code and GitHub. And then you'll find other projects that you can work on and contribute to. And then you'll be more comfortable with contributing to them because now you build a habit of,
Yeah.
pulling code and pushing code as well.
Yeah.
So, but I hope everyone has gotten some gems out of this and how to, you know, take their journey to the next level. And I want to appreciate you, Herbie. Thank you so much for joining us and just telling your story how you went into cloud networking, automation engineering with a new company. And man, you just keep growing and growing, bro. You're gonna get, I can see you now. You keep posting those projects or keep posting what you're doing, keep posting videos or
Thank you.
something.
Thank you.
You're gonna get big. The brand is gonna build for you, man. And
Thank you.
so I want to invite anybody who wants to take their career to the next level or just want to learn about cloud. Like, hey, what is it? What roles are out there? What can I make? And how do I get started? I want to invite you to our community, leveluptech.com/cloud career accelerator. Please use that link to join the accelerator. We got tons of people trying to get in, so please bear with us as we accept everyone. But use that link, and If you have any questions, I'm open to. This is the number you can text me, 434-771-3871. Don't text me late at night trying to get your question in. I'm not going to answer. I get to you first thing when I get some time to answer. But any questions about your career, where you should go, etc., feel free to ask and get some advice. I'm more than happy to give you some advice on your next steps or just learn more about what you're doing. But once again, this does not work if you don't take the first step or the next step. All of these things that we talked about here today will not work for you. All the gems we've given you will not work for you if you don't take the first or next step. All right. So thank you so much for watching. Join us next week. We're going to keep this thing going. We got more success stories, more people sharing their stories. And rewatch this on YouTube. We're going to put this up tonight. I appreciate you, HJ, for coming through, blessing the people. Y'all
Thank you.
keep
Thank you for
leveling
having
up
me.
in tech. Yeah, man. Thank you so much. Y'all keep leveling up in tech and let us know if you need us. See you later.